This is do-it-yourself knife making, how to make knives from scratch. I'd like to share with you a little bit of where I received it's where I get my inspiration from making knives. I'm not a full-time maker. I've made a lot of things by hand, bits, spurs, and saddles. And I find that knife making is just about as challenging as anything. And I'd like to share with you a couple sources that I get my inspiration from. When I was a young man in my dad's saddle shop, there was an old timer that came in there. His name was Linton from Myra, Texas. In his spare time, he made all kinds of knives, paring knives, fillet knives, and hunting knives. A lot of them were hidden tang knives, and they had boat arc handles on them. He heat treated his metal. In fact, he went to the scrap yard here in Gainesville and would buy old saw blades and plow disc and all kinds of hard metal and work it, soften it, grind it, and then reheat treat it. So when Linton would come in, I'd kind of pick his brain a little bit about that, and I kind of became interested in knives somewhat. It was later in the years before I actually made some knives, but I've got a collection of knives. What Linton would do he would kind of stockpile knives he made, and he'd work a month or two, and then he'd bring a batch of them to town. They'd be rolled up in like a hunting vest, and he'd unroll them there. In fact, it was this actual bench of my dad's here, and you could just take your pick, and fillet knives with boat arc handles, hidden tangs, and they would have steel guards on them. And most all the knives were less than $10. That's what he asked, and that's what we gave. But by the time he came to our shop, went around to a couple other dry goods stores here in town, and then the barber shop, he would sell out. And he always had a fat wallet, and I'll never forget that. But here's a pair of scissors that he made. They'll actually cut tin or thin aluminum, and some high carbon steel knives he's made. Here's a very rare knife he made. It's got aluminum handles, and it's a lock back, but you can kind of sling the blade open like that. He made that from scratch, and a little folder right here with aluminum handles and high carbon steel spring and blade. And I just wanted to share with you a little bit of where I get my inspiration to make knives, and it would be from Linton.